Bangkok 1971, it's scorching hot on the set of The Big Boss. Suddenly, a voice cuts through the thick, humid air, shouting a challenge in Thai. It comes from a local stuntman, a real Muay Thai fighter, and his words are sharp. "Your kung fu is just a dance for the cameras." That stuntman is looking at the film's star, a Hong Kong actor he's not impressed with. That actor is Bruce Lee. In a moment people would whisper about for decades, Bruce just turns and nods. There would be no cameras, no rules. This is the story of the fight they supposedly tried to erase. But that's not the only one. Another legend tells of two secret fights in an underground ring against two undefeated champions that would test Bruce Lee's philosophy and skill. These are the matches that have become a cornerstone of his legend, whispered about in gyms for over 50 years. But are they real? Tonight, we find out. The first story takes us to 1969 to a place called the Macau Coliseum. This wasn't some sanctioned arena. It was an underground ring for gamblers and purists, a place with no referees, no rounds, and no rules. And it's here, the legend says, that Bruce Lee faced an opponent known only as Kanya. She wasn't just a fighter, she was supposedly a professional killer, an undefeated Thai kickboxer trained from the age of 14. She was a specter of lethality, a woman who'd built a terrifying reputation in the brutal, anything-goes world of Southeast Asia's underground fight scene. The challenge was simple, Jeet Kune Do versus the raw, brutal power of traditional Muay Thai. How the fight went down depends on who's telling the story. Some say it was over in a flash, that Bruce knocked her out with a single, perfect punch. Others claim it was a 20-minute ghostly dance of evasion and attack. But every version of the legend agrees on one thing: Bruce Lee was completely dominant. Kanya, the undefeated killer, couldn't land a single clean hit. His footwork, his strange angles, and the blinding speed of his counters were like nothing she'd ever seen. He was a puzzle she just couldn't solve. The outcome, a decisive victory for Bruce Lee. It was, as the story goes, the first real-world proof of his Jeet Kune Do philosophy. After his win, Bruce supposedly told only his closest friends. The event vanished as the gamblers who witnessed it scattered into the night. No footage, no official record. The fight was erased, surviving only as a ghost story in the history of martial arts. The second, even more famous legend happens on November 15, 1971, in a private gym in Bangkok. Bruce Lee was on the edge of superstardom, filming his breakout hit, The Big Boss. His opponent this time was a Muay Thai champion named Samrak Kamsing. According to the legend, Samrak was a prodigy with an unbelievable 47-0 record with 43 knockouts. The story goes that she started training at 8 years old, disguised as a boy to get into the male-only gyms. By 25, she was so feared that men reportedly refused to fight her. Skeptical of this movie star claiming his art could beat any style, Samrak issued a public challenge that was impossible to ignore. Come to Bangkok, fight me, or admit you fear women. Bruce, who never backed down from a real challenge, accepted. But he had rules: 5 rounds, traditional Muay Thai rules, no cameras and no media. This wasn't for publicity, it was a sacred test of martial arts. On the night of the fight, about 50 witnesses gathered. When the bell rang, it was an absolute war. Samrak attacked with vicious low kicks, bloodying Bruce's leg. She threw elbows that supposedly cut him over the eyebrow. This was no movie, this was real combat. But Bruce fought back like a surgeon. He slipped her combos, countered with lightning-fast backfists, and used his revolutionary footwork to create angles she'd never seen. He drew blood from her lip and eye. In a key moment, he allegedly sidestepped a flying knee and landed a spinning back kick to her ribs, stumbling the undefeated champion for the first time in her career. For 5 brutal rounds, they went at it, both bleeding, both refusing to back down. When the final bell rang, the room fell silent. Then both fighters bowed. The judges, all Thai experts, delivered their verdict, a unanimous draw. Both champions remained undefeated. A deep respect was forged. Samrak gave Bruce her Mongkon, the sacred Muay Thai headband. Bruce gave her his Wing Chun ring. The fight remained a secret, an honorable battle erased from the public record. 2 incredible stories, 2 legendary fights that seem to prove Bruce Lee was everything his fans believed. They're the perfect embodiment of his philosophy: a man who could adapt to any style and beat any challenger. But what happens when we stop listening to the legend and start looking for the facts? What happens when we search for proof? That's where the trail goes cold. For decades, these stories have been passed down, growing and changing on forums, in magazines, and on YouTube. They are dramatic and inspiring, but there is no credible contemporary evidence that either of these fights ever took place. No newspaper articles from the time, no police reports, nothing in the biographies of the people who were supposedly there. These stories seem to exist almost entirely in the modern era, fueled by our desire for them to be true. When we try to find the match they tried to erase, we find there might have been nothing to erase in the first place. Let's start with that dramatic 1971 battle against Samrak Kamsing. The details feel so real, the date, the 47-0 record, the exchange of gifts. But the entire story falls apart with one simple, verifiable fact. Samrak Kamsing was a real person, but he was not a woman who fought Bruce Lee in 1971. Samrak Kamsing is a famous male Muay Thai fighter and boxer, a national hero in Thailand who won a gold medal at the 1996 Olympics. And he was born in 1973, the same year Bruce Lee died. It's historically impossible for them to have ever fought. On top of that, the real Samrak Kamsing's fight record, while great, wasn't a perfect 47-0. Like nearly all pro fighters, he had losses. The details of the legend, from the opponent's gender to the made-up record, are all elements of a modern myth, not history. While Bruce Lee was in Thailand in 1971 filming The Big Boss, there are no credible records of him accepting any kind of challenge match. So what about the 1969 ghost fight in Macau against the female killer, Kanya? That story is even harder to pin down. There are no historical records of an underground fight club called the Macau Coliseum. More importantly, there's no documented Muay Thai fighter, male or female, named Kanya with that kind of killer reputation in the sports archives. Bruce Lee's real fights, like his famous 1964 private match against Wong Jack Man, are well documented. That fight was a huge moment that caused Bruce to rethink his entire approach to martial arts, which led to him creating Jeet Kune Do. It had witnesses, a clear history, and an impact on his life that he and others talked about. These supposed Thai fights, however, have nothing like that. They exist only as stories, powerful and exciting, but without the foundation of evidence that his other life events have. So if these fights never happened, why are the stories so powerful? Why do they stick around, capturing the imagination of millions? The answer gets to the core question that has always surrounded Bruce Lee. Was he just a movie star, or was he a real fighter? His students and training partners all said his skill was unbelievable, but his early death meant he never got to prove it on a competitive world stage. These legends fill that gap. They give us a dramatic yes to that question. They give us the satisfaction of seeing his philosophy tested against the toughest opponents imaginable and coming out on top, or at the very least, as an equal. The stories perfectly illustrate his famous motto: absorb what is useful, reject what is useless, and add what is uniquely your own. These matches weren't erased by some shadowy conspiracy. They were likely never recorded because they never happened in reality. Instead, they were written into martial arts folklore. So what do you think? Are these legends just a sign of Bruce Lee's incredible impact, or do you believe there's a little bit of truth hidden in the whispers? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. And for more deep dives into the myths and realities of martial arts history, make sure to subscribe. In the end, the truth here isn't about a physical fight, but about the power of a legacy. Bruce Lee's influence was so massive that it created its own gravity, pulling in stories and myths that reflect the ideals he stood for. The fights against Kanya and Samrak may not be real, but the legend is. It speaks to our need to see our heroes validated. While no footage of these bouts exists, the story itself has become the evidence, a testament not to a forgotten fight, but to a legacy so powerful that it continues to write its own history, 50 years after its master has gone. The legend itself is what we've absorbed, a story that proves what we all want to believe, that Bruce Lee wasn't just acting. He was the real deal.